What's up? This is sold separately. We've got the goofiest, strangest wrestling figures of all time. So if you're a figure collector, you're going to want to check these out because they're really fun. And the caveat, the most fun part about this episode is I have yet to see them. So I'll be live reacting to them as Anthony, my esteemed co host, shows them to me. Let me send it out to Philadelphia to Anthony right now.
Yeah, I thought a few episodes back we did some Sting figures, and there was a Samoa Joe that was absolutely ridiculous. And when I saw Clark's reaction to that, I'm like, we can kind of make a run with this with just strange figures. And I wanted the most live reaction from him possible. So he does not know what these figures look like or which ones I'm going to pull out. So let's get into it, Clark. So
I am absolutely excited. Let me make sure I click the correct
yep.
camera here and let's
All right.
Let's get our first look.
This one you are aware of. This is the 2005 Jakks Pacific Ruthless Aggression Series 17.5 ring rate Shawn Michaels. And the reason this one is on this list is because if you look, they glued on actual chest hair.
Got real fur.
I believe it's the only one they did. I do not have this Shawn Michaels.
The thought process there. What's the one thing missing, figures wise? Let's give it real fur. Let's give him a rug, chest rug.
It's the wildest thing. And then you look at it, the microphone is just pure red. Like that's an accessory with this. Yeah. So that's like a side thing that's weird. But like the chest hair Shawn Michaels, I don't believe they did anybody else, like I said. It is probably the weirdest looking.
You had choices: Razor Ramon, A-Train.
Yes,
you got all kinds of options as far as chest hair is concerned. But it is interesting they decided they were like, you know what, HBK's figures have been missing this whole time. A chest rug.
Yes,
let's make sure we get hair for that. That's the one. I'm like, it's unfathomable these days, but it is hilarious. And honestly, it's one of those that, like, if you're a big HBK collector, it's almost kind of a must-have because it's so funny.
It's funny because there's a few times I considered getting this on eBay just because it's so weird.
It's so funny.
It's such a weird figure. And, like, if you tell people about this figure, unless you show them, they're like, nah, that didn't happen. They didn't
no way. And why would they make that?
The next one on this list is from 30 years ago in 1994. The WCW, the WCW Hero Heads. Now, this is how strange this thing is. WWF had the wrestling buddies. WCW decided to release just the head on a stick, a rubber head to beat your buddies with. And these are the three that they came out with: Hogan, Vader, and Sting.
Okay. My mom made the coolest paper mache pinata ever for my birthday when I was, I believe it was my 4th or 5th birthday. Maybe 5 or 6. I'm not sure. It was no older than 6.
Okay.
But a Vader.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if she cheated on the head and used one of these puppies. I almost have to call my mom right now. Like, I'm a little bit concerned.
You're going to confront her
that with the wool was pulled over my eyes. I thought she paper mache'd the entire thing. But I mean, I'm starting to. You're bringing back 4, 5, 6-year-old memories.
Listen, I got to ask, Clark, if you had this, how bad would you have beaten some of your buddies with this?
Like, this is just a weapon. Just
it's a walking murder weapon.
You've just handed a kid a weapon. That's all you did.
This is easily one of the strangest things I've seen. Now, this
iconic. Now, if the Vader one though was the head of that pinata, I'm not even going to be mad. I'm just going to be impressed. I don't think it was. I think my mom actually made the Vader head herself.
It obviously, the Vader head looks like he's about to sneeze.
I mean, I beat that thing with the makeshift kendo stick we had. Like, you've never even seen the Vader pinata. I distinctly remember that's one of my earliest memories.
Your earliest childhood memory is committing violence.
Just smashing the Vader pinata with my Sandman kendo stick.
The next one Clark remembers, and this isn't particularly just this set, but it was an entire series. So this is the 1997 WCW original San Francisco toy maker. These were vibrating figures.
So I had these back in the day.
Yes.
And I've even got a follow-up Scott Hall that was I believe from the same maker that was later with the turning.
Yes.
And all that's on my little broadcast display here.
So not to just mention that neither one of these figures look anything like Hall or Nash.
Well, they got goatees.
But their big thing was, they vibrated.
They did.
Now, as a child, it's okay. You've given your child a vibrator. Essentially.
Yeah, it's just it's a fascinating concept. It's the
90s were a different time.
It'd be one thing if like the arms moved reasonably.
Yes.
But like the one that I have, like with the you can make them twist and whatever.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like the arms move. This is just like what do you mean they vibrate? Like whatever, like they gyrate, like only a boogeyman figure would make sense with that feature.
Honestly,
I think from a logic standpoint,
that would not be a bad idea for Mattel to go old school and release a San Diego Comic-Con boogeyman that vibrates. It would be kind of funny if they did.
It would be iconic. I would say gyrates.
Oh, that's what it would say probably
electronically.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, they were such a strange line of figures at the time. And again, this is
gear looks good.
Yeah, but I don't believe.
I was just looking for one positive. Honestly, the box is cool too. You get the Nitro logo. It says tag team, in case you didn't know that they are a team.
But yeah, I mean, this is the period where WCW was still in the lead ratings wise, and it's the figures don't seem to match that. Like
it's weird though, because there were good ones, but there were some weird ones.
Oh yeah, a lot of weird ones. So the next one we're covering is a 2006 Jakks Pacific Flexum series.
Yes.
Which they've done a few of these. This is the Shawn Michaels. I mean, can you get a possible stranger looking figure than this?
Honest to goodness, these ones always crack me up because first off, none of them looked relevant. And then they made one of Brock Lesnar. And he was like, that kind of looks like him. But this one in particular is just comedy. They went no chest hair, double the muscles, 26-inch waistline.
Yes.
And not only that, you pull that thing out and it just is silicone. Like it's the weirdest texture and you bend it. And then if your dog gets a hold of that one, it is bite mark city. If your dog gets a hold of one of the Flexums, you're in trouble. But these are classics. They crack me up.
I guess they probably came along the lines of the old Flex Armstrong figures. I'm guessing that was the logic behind them.
Only two Flexums I had in childhood were Rob Van Dam and Brock Lesnar. And Brock looked like Brock. They're like, they got it right.
Yeah, I don't believe I had any of them. But the next one is, I believe it was something out of Japan. Tron Wrestlefest plush figures. This, I believe you know who this is, Clark.
I got to get this for one of my buddy's kids, but that's excellent. I mean, we got Vader's back.
This is Big Van Vader, or
the gear. Okay, the mask is okay. The bottom gear, it doesn't look very good.
The mask is okay. The V's upside down.
It's not good either. It's
The eyes are all messed up.
I think that stands for the N on Big Van Vader.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
that's a deep V too on the singlet.
Yes. The boots are interesting. On top of that, I don't recall Vader. I'm guessing those are supposed to be elbow pads.
This is one of those stuffed figures you develop elbow drops on and leave it at that.
He's not even wearing the gloves.
Hey, don't try this at home, kids.
Yes. He's not even wearing the trademark gloves, Clark.
He's not wearing gloves.
Yeah. So
No,
I
this is
mean,
a gloveless Vader. Obviously, this is deep in the match. His mouth is bleeding too, as you can see, and he's frowning.
yes. Um. Now,
This is ridiculous. This is one of the most ridiculous stuff things I've ever. Like what?
here,
Like I had
here's
to look in the notes because you were like, I think you'll know who this is. I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't.
Here's the kicker. This is the first thing I
No
saw.
Mascaras.
Can I be honest? This is the first one that I saw and went, I can make a whole series of this. This was the first one that I saw to do this with you
This is a
for
remarkably ridiculous
the next
presentation of
the
Vader.
the next one is an old rival of his. This is the
Stinger.
2016 Sting, where they decided to make mutant figures. So Sting is an actual scorpion on this, which
Yeah.
it sort of makes sense, but I get Rock Scorpion King vibes
If
by
I
looking at
was
this.
10, maybe. But like this is, I mean, which is most of the market for this.
Yes.
But this is just silly. It doesn't even. What do you mean he's like a? Yeah, I get Rock Scorpion. I get like Daredevil vibes. They're like they put Sting's head on a Daredevil figure. I don't get it.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
Like,
I guess you
I,
from
like,
the chest. Yeah, I get
yeah,
that.
like what was the point here? Like, I mean, Sting has cool gear in the first place.
Yes.
I guess they're trying to do alternate stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a big old swing and a miss in my eyes.
Okay. The last one that we are going to
Cannot wait for
cover. This may be one of the best of the most ridiculous. This is in 1998. I didn't even know they made these. WCW Idea Factory Beanbag Brawlers Series 1 that they only made 28,000 of these. DDP.
Wow. Is that like what's the size on? Is that a Beanie Baby or is it like
I believe so. I believe it's I think it's about like 9 inches maybe.
Yeah, so it's like the size of a Beanie Baby.
Yeah, maybe. Well, probably a little bigger than that, but yeah, I think it's about 8 or 9 inches. They only made 28,000 of.
Why
of
did they use the Hacksaw Jim Duggan's likeness?
I got to be honest. I'm thinking more Van Hammer.
Same. I mean, it could be any generic blonde bearded guy, but it's not DDP.
I could tell you, Clark. Every single one of the figures in this line, which they will appear in the future episodes of these Weird and Strange, are insanely bad. This,
Yeah.
I was like, Clark, this has to be the last one. But
this is one of those ones that like kids in 1998 that had Beanie Baby collections and weren't allowed to get figures got like one of these, and they had, I mean, knockdown drag out matches between Franklin the Big Red Dog in Beanie Baby form against this DDP.
I mean,
that were electric, but that's the best thing that came out of this figure.
Listen, this
it's not even a figure, it's a Beanie Baby.
This DDP against that Vader that we covered would probably be a heck of a match.
I think the Vader was bigger.
Well, Vader
huge size advantage.
Vader is bigger than DDP.
So no, but I think the Vader one looked like a stuffed animal. This thing's like got to be like that big.
But yeah, I mean, talking about feeling the bang.
I will say the jeans and the shirt look like him, and the tattoos are pretty close. And then they went with spaghetti and someone else's face.
I do love that they have the hair being wild, like that. That kind of sells it at least a little bit.
Absolute comedy. Honestly, it's one of the funniest. It's one of the funniest releases I've ever seen. Shout out DDP, huge DDP fan.
Absolutely.
But I probably would have had this in '98, honestly, had I known about it. My sister was way into Beanie Babies.
Yeah, so
I probably could have worked that out.
I don't know what this goes for now. Like I said, they only made 28,000 of these. We laughed. This thing could be like $300 on eBay. I don't know.
Probably.
But yeah, so this is the first batch of the Weird and Strange figures. Yep. We do have some more scheduled for, I don't know when we'll drop those. But yeah, this is I figured let's get a little crazy with some of these figures.
I'm stoked for part 2. I hope everyone enjoyed part 1. I mean, what a great show, Anthony. Absolutely. And I love the concept. I'm glad you came up with it. And I'm glad that I stayed away so I hadn't seen them
Yes.
so far when it came to that. It's good to be back. Tune into all our episodes of Sold Separately. They're going to be released every single week. We're on fire. Check out part 2 after this. It's coming up soon. Have a good one, my friends. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. Also, like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Have a good one.